Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Baatu's webinar series on Ask the Expert. Here, I can see many names who participated in our last webinar. Thank you all for showing up again. I'm Sonali Gupta, your behavioral psychologist with around 5 years of experience in dealing with children and parents. In our last webinar, we have discussed how this digital world offers immense opportunities, but it's also a space where children can face challenges. Today, we'll be exploring the growing concerns of cyberbullying and also discussing essential safety measures to protect children online. But before that, I have an interesting fact to share with you all. Do you know that India is amongst the top 3 nations where children suffer from cyberbullying? Isn't it alarming for us? Don't worry. Today, we have invited our special speaker to bust all your doubts. Now I'm getting excited to introduce our special speaker, Mr. Vijayakumar Pitta, a renowned cyber psychologist. Sir has over 25 years of experience with a blended exposure of technology and psychology. He works with corporates, schools, and the general public to create awareness about various aspects of cyber psychology, such as internet addiction, cyberbullying, cybercrime, cyber fraud, and various prevention methods. Sir, we are really honored to have you here today. Thank you for accepting our invite. I'm sure Mr. Vijay Kumar's experience will provide us invaluable insights into the psychological impact of cyberbullying and effective coping strategies. Also, sir, I have a lot of questions for you, and I have even hope that our participants will have to. Hope we can get answers to all our questions by the end of this webinar. So without taking more time, let's dwell into this crucial topic. Sir, now the webinar is all yours.
Thank you, Sonali. Thank you so much for the nice introduction. Hello all, good evening. So let me share my screen. Can you allow me to share my screen, Sonali?
Yes, sir, just a minute.
Yeah. So how are you doing all? While I run through the slides, please feel free to stop me anytime by unmuting yourself, or if you want to ask your questions, you can use your chat panel. And I ask you some questions, probably you can also respond by answering it in chat or unmuting yourself. Yeah. So let me share my screen. Hope you are able to see the screen. Sonali, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, it is. We are able to see the screen.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. And so I think, Sonali has given a quick introduction of, what is the cyberbullying and what is the prevalence in India, right? She has mentioned some of the statistics, India is one of the top 3 countries, and also, very alarming fact we can say, because, as we are using internet more and more, there are a lot of cyber crimes and cyber frauds, and cyberbullying is also increasing every day. So let us understand what is cyberbullying. Can anyone answer what is cyberbullying? You can use your chat window if you want to respond, or you can unmute yourself. What is cyberbullying? Anyone? Okay, so there are some answers, some responses. Renu says it is internet bullying. Yes, you are right, Renu. Right, cyberbullying is bullying that takes place using any electronic devices. It can happen over laptop, it can happen over mobile phone, or it can happen over your iPad or whatever it is, right? So whenever the bullying happens using the electronic devices, it is called cyberbullying. Before pandemic, we very often we used to talk about bullying in the schools and bullying in the playgrounds, or bullying in the tuition center. Those bullying were kind of physical bullying, right? But after pandemic, because we have more access to the online, we have more access to the online devices, we have more access to the internet, because most of the kids during the pandemic they started using on online devices for their studies. So what happened is we started hearing more and more about cyberbullying, right? So how cyberbullying is different from regular bullying, like offline bullying? What is the difference between online bullying versus offline bullying? Can anyone tell what is the difference? We can observe. Yeah, Ganeshan says without physical interactions. Very true. What else? Anyone would like to attempt? How online bullying is different from offline bullying? The more it is through internet, of course, that is right. Online bullying, the cyber bullying, the name itself says it is through cyberspace, which can be internet, right? Anonymous, Renu, excellent point, right? It is anonymous. So what happens is, like, if you look at the regular offline bullying which happens in your schools or playgrounds or tuition centers, usually it happens within that specific time period when the school runs. But the cyberbullying can happen 24/7 because everybody has access to the internet and the devices all throughout the day. There is no barrier for them to access. So it can happen 24/7. And it can in the physical bullying, right? In the offline bullying, generally one kid teaches the other kid, right? Or maximum like 2 or 3 kids teaches one particular kid. But here, simultaneously, people can bully others. Like, one kid can tease multiple kids at the same time using the online. So many to many interactions happen. And as Renu mentioned, it is anonymous because most of the cyberbullying happens using fake profiles, right? They don't use their regular names. So what happens is they create a lot of fake profiles and then they start using the cyberbullying. So it is anonymous, and because of which it is very difficult to trace who is bullying, right? So in the physical bullying, you can easily observe who is bullying, right? But here in the cyberbullying, we don't know who is bullying because they are coming with fake profiles. And then because of the nature of the online, the moment the cyberbullying happens, like as Kalpana is mentioning, using bad words or sending photographs online, what happens is it is known to wider public very faster. In the offline bullying, probably, very few people know that, okay, this person is bullying the other person or this kid is bullying the other kid. But in the online space, the news spreads faster. So the moment a person, puts a fake profile or a fake image or, some bad words, immediately the entire world knows, okay, there is something happening, and, it spreads very faster. So these are the major differences between online bullying versus offline bullying. Yeah. And I want to ask you one question here, right? So which country has the most instances of cyberbullying? Of course, Sonali mentioned, she gave a little hint. So which country has the most instances of cyberbullying? US, India, yes. It is very unfortunate that our country, India, is getting this reputation that in India, there are most number of incidents of cyberbullying happening. Almost, when the McAfee conducted a survey for almost around 11,000 parents and kids in around across the 10 countries, they found that in India 85% of the kids are experiencing cyberbullying. Okay, I will come to that, what it means, right? Experiencing cyberbullying. And the other important thing is, when compared to the other countries, in India it is happening 1.5 to 2 times more, right? And very alarming factor is 45% of the kids, they are not telling this to their parents. They're hiding from the parents. And, right, very, very importantly, 48% of the kids are involved in cyberbullying other kids. It may be very unpleasant fact for us as a parents, because we think that our kids are very soft, they are very good, they don't get involved in such kind of cyberbullying and all those things. But The fact is, based on this report, 48% of the kids are cyberbullying other kids in India. So that is the primary reason why we are conducting this session today, to create the awareness about the cyberbullying and its effects, and like how we can prevent cyberbullying. Right? Are you with me? All right. So, and when during the pandemic, we gave the access to internet. We gave our kids the access to internet. We gave them the access to the devices, right? And do you know how much percentage of time they are using the online devices and internet for their studies? Any guesses? How much time they are using internet and online for studies? Even during pandemic, when they were fully online. Okay, as 1% is too less. So as per the survey, 25% of the time only they are using for studies, and the remaining time, whenever they are using the internet and online devices, the electronic devices, they are using for the social media, right? Like your Instagram, your Facebook, your YouTube, your WhatsApp, and all those things. So that is the reason why there is more cyberbullying happening in the social media platform. So which social media platform has the highest cyberbullying rate? Can you guess? Which is the social media platform having more number of cyberbullying? Sharmila says Instagram. Yeah. Right. So you're right. So 42% of the cyberbullying cases are happening from the Instagram, and around 37% using Facebook, and of course the WhatsApp and YouTube, right? So now, what are the different forms of cyberbullying, right? Let us try to understand. Like, we know cyberbullying means it happens through like social media, online platforms. What are the different forms? Right? As a parents, we need to understand what kind of forms. Of course, here I see like some of the kids are also there, right? We all need to understand what are the different forms of cyberbullying. Can anyone guess what are the different forms of cyberbullying? You are right, Sharmila. Kids may not be using Twitter that much. Agreed. Yeah. But it is not that they're not using it at all. They're still using it. Yeah. Okay. So what are the different forms of cyberbullying? I'm getting answers like Anjali says, fat shaming. Yeah, body shaming. Correct. Racism. And they create anonymous accounts. Yes. Anything else? Okay. So in the interest of time, I'll just move on. Right. So there are different forms of cyberbullying happens through social media platforms. It can be trolling, right? Or it can be harassing. Trolling is basically, using bad, abusive languages, and body shaming about your appearance. People may say, you are fat, you are thin, you are idiot, you are brainless, kind of thing. And sometimes, they target the, weaker kids, and, they send some abusive messages to them using their, WhatsApp or using their phone. Sometimes they create fake profiles, right? If they can access, because they all know that, okay, this kid is using Instagram or this kid is using Facebook. So if they can hack into, your kid's account, they can create the fake profile and fake images, and, they put some lot of nude images or, kind of thing. And sometimes what they do is, in the group chat, purposefully they isolate, particular set of kids, so that, they can harass them, right? So for example, if there are 5 kids group chatting and they don't respond to one kid purposefully, so what happens is this kid, self-esteem goes down, because why people are not responding to my messages, why I am being isolated, right? And similarly, they may steal your information, they may, spread rumors about, your kid, whatever it is, right? So these are different forms of, cyberbullying happens, right? So now I want, all the parents and maybe kids also, right, to spend some time on this particular, slide, right? Why do some kids bully other kids? We need to understand what is the motivation? Why some kids bully other kids, right? And I want you to probably think about it, right? Can anyone guess why do some kids bully other kids? What do you think? Any guesses? Okay, I'm getting some responses. To feel superior, yes, they want to show that I'm, powerful, and yes, they have been bullied by somebody, and they want to, reciprocate, or probably they want to bully somebody else to satisfy their ego. Yeah. And attention seeking, yes, Kalpana mentioned attention seeking. Archana says inferior feeling. Yes, some people, have that inferior feeling. And then Soumya says for fun. Yes. Subhash says somebody may be jealous. Exactly. Right. And revenge. Somebody wants to take revenge. Yes. And some people feel happy. Entertainment, inferiority complex, revenge. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the responses, and, to prove a point. Yeah. So thanks for the, being interactive, right? So typically, what happens is, like, as you all mentioned, probably the kid is very angry at, their teachers. They may be they may be having that kind of frustration towards their parents, right? For whatever reasons. And so because they cannot show their anger towards their teachers or parents, they will try to target some kids who are weak. I mean, or at least they assume that the other kids are weak, and they start, bullying them. And also they want to take revenge on some people, right? And sometimes they cannot do that in a physical world. So that is the reason why they do this online. And if we observe, some cases, what happens is the family situation is a little bit emotionally disturbing. Like probably, the parents may be going through some kind of, divorce situation, relationship issues, or, fighting with each other, shouting at each other. So some kind of emotional disturbance is there in the family. And so these kids, wants to project on other kids. And similarly, nowadays, most of the, parents, both couple, they're working, right? So when the kid comes home, they don't have anybody to talk to them. So they get bored. And so the option they have is, okay, log into the internet and do whatever you like, right? It can be cyber porn, it can be cyberbullying. And sometimes they do it for entertainment. Sometimes they just want to get rid of their boredom, and they do it. And as somebody mentioned, like, yeah, they want to show the power. They want to show off to their friends that, I'm bullying others. And sometimes, because they get influenced by their friends. So my friends are doing, so why not I? So peer influence also happens. And sometimes they don't know what kind of harm they're doing to the other people. So with ignorance, they do this. So these are all some kind of motivation for them to, involve in cyberbullying. Is it clear? Okay. So now, what are the effects of cyberbullying, right? Yes, we looked at, what is cyberbullying, what are the different forms, and what is the motivation for kids to involve in cyberbullying. All right. So now, what are the effects? Like if your kid is bullied by somebody, right? So what are the effects of cyberbullying? Lack of confidence, depression, yes. Anxiety, very true. Yeah. So if we categorize them into different buckets, probably yeah, it makes kids sad. Their self-esteem is low, right? They develop inferiority complex. So we can club them into three different buckets, right? Physical, psychological, and behavioral. Like, for example, if somebody is, going through this kind of cyberbullying, probably their sleep patterns is changed because they will not be able to sleep properly. They may get some kind of nightmares. So their sleep pattern gets disturbed. Their eating habits may get disturbed, and they may feel very fatigued and weak throughout the day, every day. And also probably they may complain about some kind of, pains, kind of thing. In terms of psychological, there are so many, like, people, they feel very humiliated, they feel isolated, right, and nervous, and they get a lot of angry, but they feel very helplessness, right? Because somebody is bullying me, I don't know who is that person, I want to do something to him, but I can't do anything, right? Some kind of very helplessness, the frustration, depression, anxiety, and all these things, right? Self-confidence, self-esteem is low, and maybe we can also see in terms of behavioral changes, their academic grades, or maybe the academic interest also gets reduced. They don't want to go to the school, right? And they may lose interest in whatever activities they were enjoying before, right? And probably sometimes lack of concentration can happen, and sometimes you may see them thinking too much about it, and probably sometimes self-harming behaviors also may develop, right? So these are different effects which can happen on that kid who is going through this kind of cyber bullying trauma. Yeah. So now, how to identify if your kid is being cyberbullied? This is very important, again, for the parents, right? So till the last week, the child is very happy, very joyful, very jolly, happy-go-lucky kid kind of thing, but suddenly you see some differences, right? So what are those differences? What kind of symptoms you can observe? Of course, we discussed all these things in the previous slide, so I just want to put it in a picture format here. So if you observe your kid is withdrawn, right? Okay, the kid doesn't want to mingle with the people, mingle with the kids. Very, very important symptom. And also, till last week, probably they are very actively using internet and online devices, but probably this week you see them not using that because they are scared. They're afraid if they go into the internet, maybe somebody is trolling them, somebody is bullying them, so they don't want to use their laptop, their devices, right? And sometimes they don't, as we discussed, they don't tell their parents directly, but probably they ask and they give some hint saying that, okay, mommy, do you know how to block somebody in my YouTube, or in my Facebook, or in my Instagram? Kind of very indirect questions they may ask, right? So don't discount those kind of questions and say, okay, you don't need to know that, right? But probably we need to understand why they are asking such questions. And similarly, they may be looking very sad, as I said. They may show anger to the parents. Exactly. The behavioral changes we can see. They may be crying a lot. Probably sometimes, the kids cry under the blanket, right? You may be thinking that my kid is sleeping, but probably they are not sleeping. They are, sobbing under the, blanket. And, so these are some of the symptoms you need to observe, and why there is a sudden change from the last week to this week, right? You need to observe. And if these kind of behaviors, if these kind of symptoms continue for 2 weeks, right, definitely that is an alarming thing. You need to, take some action there, right? But if that person, your kid is sad one day, but, next day is able to, or she is able to cope it up, we don't need to worry too much, but just keep a tab on them, keep monitoring them, right? So this is how you identify whether your kid is being cyberbullied. Okay. So now I have a question. I don't know how many kids are here, right? How do you prevent cyberbullying? I want some answers from kids if they are here, right? Either you can use
We
your...
must tell the parents.
Exactly. Who is this? What is your name?
We must tell the parents.
Yes, thank you. What is your name?
We must tell the parents.
Okay. You must tell the parents. Yes, agreed. Excellent. Anything else? How do you prevent? Okay, now kids.
Or police.
Police, yes, you are right. Yeah, because kids, they don't know the implication of the cyberbullying, and they may not know how to use the online. See, what happens is, they may get some kind of block people, right? Yes, they may get some kind of request from the unknown strangers. So first thing is, what you need to do is, don't chat with any strangers, right? Don't accept any request. Don't accept any request from strangers as friends, right? So, and do not share personal information. Yes, exactly, right? And so in case if you are observing that your friend is being cyberbullied, right, you don't just watch and don't laugh at them, right? Immediately you need to tell your teachers or parents or whoever it is, right? So don't just watch, okay, it is not for me, I am not getting bullied, but my friend is getting bullied, so I don't need to do anything. So don't do that. If you observe your friend is being bullied, immediately report it, right? And similarly, you don't involve in bullying, so don't use bad words at other kids, your friends, right? Or don't use body shaming, or don't use abusive messages or abusive pictures, right? And you need to take support, as the kid is, I don't know what is the name, but you need to take support and help. So from whom you can take support? From whom you can take support? He already mentioned from whom you should take support. Parents, exactly, right? See, parents, they love you a lot. Okay. And if you are getting into any trouble, first and foremost thing is you need to tell your parents, because they love you a lot, they will save you, they will protect you. Got it? They will take care of you. So please take support from your parents and teachers or elders. Okay, don't think that I can solve on my own. Don't think that, okay, I have to tell my friends. Your friends may be helping you, but your first point of contact, first you should report to your teachers and parents or your elders. Okay, this is how you can prevent. Okay, now somebody started bullying you, right? How do you handle it? Right? So far we have seen, okay, how to prevent. But now, you are seeing that somebody is bullying you. What kind of action you take? What kind of action you can take if somebody started bullying you? Again, this is a question for all the kids here. Block them, report them, very good. Yes. So first thing is, like, even if somebody says some bad words at you, saying that you are stupid, you are fat, you are thin, you are, brainless, don't respond to anybody. Okay. Never respond, because the moment you respond, what will happen is, they will get more power. So they think that, okay, if I say some bad words, this guy is responding to me. That means I am hurting him. So don't give that kind of feeling to the other person, whoever it is. So don't respond at all. Collect the evidence means with your parents' help, you take the screenshots of your Instagram or your Facebook or YouTube or your WhatsApp, whatever it is, and then you block the users. Okay. And then sometimes they may hack into your personal account. So ensure that you are changing the passwords. That is very, very important. And then you can report it to the cybercrime. You can report it to the police, cyber government, right? So there is a department called cybercrime department, cybercrime prevention department. You can report it to there. Okay, so this is how you need to handle. But the important point here is don't respond to them. The moment you respond, again that guy will respond to you. The moment you respond, again that person will start responding, right? Again that person will start abusing you. So the moment you see somebody is saying something bad to you, don't respond. Okay, is it clear? Yeah. All right. So now we will go into the very important section of this entire session today, so like how parents can support their kids, right? This is again, I want all the parents to spend some time here on how we can support our kids, right? So anyone would like to say anything or respond to this? Of course, I will give you a beautiful framework, little bit of, not big thing, but a beautiful framework where how you can support. But I want to listen from the parents here how they can support their kids. Supervise them frequently, listen to kids. Yes. And I think somewhere
Good evening, sir. My name is Manjari.
Yeah, Manjari.
Actually, while seeing children seeing mobiles, we have to watch them, sir. We should not leave them alone.
Right.
We have to give the support as well as we have to watch the children, what they are seeing. That way we can monitor,
Right.
sir. Suppose if there
True.
are unwanted things, if they are monitoring me, we have to give the moral information why you should not see like that. We have to support them. Sir.
Correct.
That's
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. So here, I will give you a small framework so that, you can apply that. Okay, Sirisha is telling that without scolding the kids, need to make them understand the repercussions and always ensure that you give them knowledge. Yes, exactly. Thank you. Thank you. Right. And then I think Soumya says, listen to the kid politely and provide necessary support, monitor their devices and okay. Is my voice okay now or it's breaking?
it's okay, sir.
Are you able to hear me now?
Now we can hear, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Sure. Thank you. So how, as a parents, we can support the kids? I'm giving you a small framework here. First thing is recognize the red flags, right? So what are the red flags? The red flags are the symptoms, whether your kid is being cyberbullied by somebody else, right? We talked about the physical, psychological, and behavioral symptoms, which you can observe. And so recognize those red flags. Okay, my kid is not as usual this week. Why is it so? Right? So you need to understand that. Because what happens is, as I mentioned, most of the times, nowadays, because of the necessity, both the parents are working and they are busy with their schedules. Sometimes the single parents are there, they are busy with their schedules. It is very difficult, becoming very difficult for us to, monitor or observe our kids, how they are behaving or how they are feeling, right? But unfortunately, we need to do that because we need to understand what is the changes in our, kids from last week versus this week, from yesterday versus today. Is there any change, right? That is one first thing we need to do. The second one is, okay, we need to have the conversations with, our kids, right? Definitely we need to have the conversations with kids. But then what happens is, I think I have seen in your responses, somebody said that parents should be non-judgmental. But no, it is very easy to say that parents should be non-judgmental. But the reality is we are always judging our kids, right? When our kid is going through this kind of cyberbullying, it can be trauma. So what happens is, when they want to come and say something, like say, if they come and ask us how to block, some strangers, instead of telling them, probably we will shout at them. Why do you want to know that? This is a adults thing. This is not kids thing, right? And secondly, if you see your kid is sleeping and he or she doesn't want to go to the school, we label them saying that you are lazy, right? And you are pretending. You don't want to go to school. You don't want to develop, right? So a lot of shouting happens instead of understanding what they are going through, and that is the big problem. So when we start shouting them and when we start don't listen to them, then what happens is they go away from us. They come and tell what happened to us, what happened to them, but unfortunately we are not giving them the enough space. Instead of that, we are shouting, we are labeling, we are judging. Then what happens is they are going away, right? So please don't do that, right? Have the kind of empathetic conversations with them, right? So just ask, are you okay, right? So initially they may not tell, but if you ask repeatedly, right, give them some space, give them some pause, and instead of shouting, just hug them, or maybe spend 5 minutes chatting with them, understanding what is happening in their life, right? So that is what we need to do. That empathetic conversations we need to happen. And then once they open up, right, you all love them, right? Definitely, right? Every parent loves their kid. But unfortunately, we are not showing them enough. I'm there for you. Assure that you are there for them. Assure your support to them. You tell them that, see, I am here for you. You are my loving darling. You are my loving kid. I am here for you. Right? For me, you are more important than anything else. So give them that kind of assurance, confidence, so that they will open up as well as they'll be more matured, right? And then once okay, my kid is going through this kind of cyberbullying, you need to control that using tools and resources. Of course, we talked about like, how do you, control that using like, blocking it or make it private, make the profile private, whatever it is, right? So you can do that. Or if required, you can also take help from some counselors if that goes to that extent. Yeah. And then very important thing is don't leave them, right? We need to handhold them until they recover because they're still very young, right? They can't solve their problems on their own, right? They may think that they can solve their problems on their own, but we all know, right? Because we all have gone through that phase. So we need to handhold them until they recover. So it is called REACH framework. R for recognize and red flags, E for empathetic conversation, A for assure them, C for control, and H for handhold them. Yeah. So this is a small framework which you can use it. And then how do you protect them from like, how do you control their, online device usage? You can educate them on password safety because, most of the times people observe that, very easy password, people keep it, right? For example, my name is Vijay. I keep Vijay123 and it is very easy to hack my password, right? So don't use very simple passwords, probably use little bit complex passwords so that people cannot hack into their accounts. And similarly, ensure that they don't share their personal information. Very, very important. Don't share that where you are, which school you are studying, which area you are living, or which vacation you are going to, which place you are going. See what happens is maybe I'm slightly going away from the main subject of cyberbullying, but see what happens is when it happens in the real world, right? So when the kids school is over, their parent is supposed to come and pick up, but unfortunately the parent is stuck up in some work. So they asked these kids to stay at the school. So they came out of the school gate. They're waiting near the school gate. The kids are waiting near the school gate. And because they have the mobile, they started, putting messages to their friends saying that I'm at the school gate and, my parent will come in another 1 hour or so. And so somehow the cyber, criminals, they came to know and that these kids are, alone and their parents are not there. It will take 1 hour time for them to come. So they went and pretended as if, they are being sent by their parents and then they kidnapped her. So it is called cyber kidnapper. So don't put such kind of messages in your social media, right? Don't tell anybody where you are, what you are doing. It is not required at all. Right? If you want to post your vacation photos, post it after you complete your vacation. Don't, post it immediately when you are on holiday. Right. And similarly, as a parents, I'm sorry to say, right, we should not micromanage our kids, agreed. But unfortunately, we are living in a very cruel cyber world and, cyber crimes, right? So we need to audit our, kids' internet usage, how they are using internet, how they are using online, right? What kind of social media platforms they're visiting, what kind of websites they're visiting, what is their activity. You can get it, all these things, you can get the history. If you go to any, media, you can go and get the history of what they're doing in that particular day or in that particular hour. You can easily get it. So audit it. You need to audit so that you know what your kid is doing in the online space. All right. And if anything happens with cyberbullying, please report it to cybercrime department and immediately disengage. Right. So these are some of the tips how you can protect your kids in the cyberspace. Right. So just I'm looking at. Maybe I'll just come to the chat window once I finish this last slide. Right. So now we talked about how you can prevent your kid from being cyberbullied by somebody else. Okay, if somebody else is cyberbullying, how can you prevent or how can you handle it? Now I want to discuss about what if your kid is a cyberbully, right? What if your kid is bullying others? Again, I'm sorry to say, right? Every parent thinks that my kid is very, soft. My kid is very good. He or she never gets into cyberbullying. He or she never harms or hurts anybody else. Yes, we all have love and affection. We all believe our kids. But unfortunately, that may not be the case. That may not be the case. May or may not be the case. So you need to ensure that your kid is not a cyberbully. So how do you identify? right? Again, I want parents to spend some time here. First of all, how do we identify if my kid is a cyberbully? The number one factor is most of the cyberbullying, or for that matter, any cyber crime happens using fake profiles. So first of all, you need to understand, do you have any multiple profiles are created on your device, your laptop, your mobile, or your Facebook, your Instagram? You can very easily check it up. Second thing is, the moment any other parent comes and tells you, or teacher tells you, or any other kid tells that, your kid is bullying me or cyberbullying me, we immediately say, no, my kid is not like that. Yes, I understand we need to have belief and confidence in our kid, but please take those kind of complaints seriously if they are repeated in nature, right? If the same, complaints are coming again and again, probably you need to take it seriously. Very important, right? And again, as I said, audit the usage of internet. You need to see where they are going. And of course, you need to check how your kid is behaving outside the online versus offline. And very importantly, check the behaviors while using internet. Means, see, many times what happens is kids are going inside the room, they're closing the room, and they're doing whatever they like, right? I understand if they're studying, they don't want to be disturbed, they can go and close the door. But if they're watching YouTube, they're watching Instagram, they're watching Facebook, they don't need to close the door, right? But many times we parents are allowing them to close the doors, right? Please don't do it, because most of the cybercrime happens behind the closed doors, right? So please, if they're using social media, they don't need to close the doors because they're not doing any secret thing, right? Please understand that. So don't allow them to close the doors. Of course, if they're above 18, above 20, they can manage on their own, you can leave them. But at least until 18, please don't do that. Yeah. And if this is how you identify if your kid is a cyberbully, and if he is or she is a cyberbully, how do you address that, right? Very important is, first you need to talk to the kid and understand, what is the motivation for doing that, and discuss what is the impact, how they are hurting others, and how they are hurting themselves, right? Because if the cyberbullying is reported, so probably police may come to your house, they may arrest your kid, they may arrest the parents, because they may not arrest the kids, right? They think that, okay, parents are only doing this. So you need to tell the consequences of this cyberbullying to your kids, and delete any inappropriate content, and monitor the behaviors continuously. If you still think that, okay, my kid is bullying others, but the kid is not changing, probably you need to take help from psychologists or counselors to treat the person. Yeah. So with this is my last slide. So I'll just look at some kind like the chat window to answer any questions. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for such an
Yeah.
insightful session. Now we'll take up some questions. So if anybody is having some question, they can put it in the chat box. Meanwhile, I'll be taking the question from Kamal. Like he has mentioned, his doubt is, if someone bullies us online, we also have the option to fight back and bully them back. Instead of running away from the issue, can we bully the bully? I frequently face this whenever I post any comments or new posts. I'm confused. What is right here?
Okay. Bully the bully is not a right thing to do. The reason is, the moment the person says, for example, you are posting some content on the social media, and immediately the person comes and says, whatever you have written is bullshit, or whatever you have written is nonsense, right? So now what happens is, the moment you respond to that person saying that no, this is correct, then immediately that person knows, oh, okay, that means I am hurting his ego. I want to do it again and again. So what is you see, basically, by responding to such comments, you are giving power to the other person, right? But if you ignore the comments, then the person will not put anything again, right? That is number one. So don't bully, never respond. You don't need to. You don't need to see, as long as you're putting a proper content on the social media, you think that is right, anything, good feedback, constructive feedback is good. But if somebody wants to bully you by purpose, then you don't need to respond. That is number one. Second thing is, you can also block those users, or you can also block the comments, right? There are some, like Facebook, for example, you can put a post and you can say disable, the comments. So nobody can comment on you. So you can do that also. But bullying the bully is basically you are giving the power to them. So which is not appropriate. Yeah. Is it clear, Kamal? Okay. And how to reduce the influence of peers from my kid, right? See again, right? See, as kids, we can mold them the way we want, right? So we need to tell them continuously, saying that, okay, see, as long as whatever your friend is telling, as long as that is helpful for you, you can follow. But as long as that is not helpful for you, that is not helping you, right? Then don't listen to them. So, and this message, first time we have to give them, and they may listen, they may not listen. Again, we need to. So what we need to do is we call it as a reinforcing. So continuously we need to tell them, saying that, okay, I'm not saying that don't mingle with those kids. You can mingle with them, but don't listen everything whatever they say. Okay, think about what is useful for you, what is not useful for you. And if you are confused about whether it is useful or not, you can talk to me, right? That is how you can reduce the influence from peers. That is where we need to give them the support.
So there's one more question from Manam Day. If any child is unaware of cyberbullying but still does that because of curiosity, how to prevent it?
Yeah, exactly. So how to prevent it is, that means basically what you are saying is, I mean, not you, that kid is a cyber bully. That means that kid is bullying others. He or she may not know what is the consequences or what is the impact of that particular activity. Right. So the question is, how do we prevent it? Number one is, as a parent, we need to audit the internet usage. That means what kind of websites my kid is going, what kind of comments my kid is posting on social media. Are those comments helpful, or is it sounding like bullying? Right. Number one. As a parent, we need to take that call, and then once we identify, okay, my kid is doing it, but that kid doesn't know what is the consequences of it, then we need to talk to that person and talk to that kid, saying that, see, I know you're doing this, and try to understand why the kid is doing. Is it for fun? Is it for because he's getting bored or she's getting bored? Understand the motivation, and then tell them the consequences of it. Right? Tell them that, see, you may not know what is the impact, but if the other kid is getting hurt, right, or being, he's crying or he's reporting to the police, then there may be a possibility that police will come to us and arrest us. So the moment, you tell them the consequences, obviously, most of the kids will stop. Some kids still, they cannot come out of it, probably because of the addiction. In those cases, probably you need to, go and see a counselor who can, using some kind of behavioral therapies that can be cured.
So there's one more question from Sachina. Is it right to completely stop our children from using phones and computers?
No, you cannot do that, because now we are in a cyber world, right? Even some of the classes are happening through mobile. Some of the classes they need to attend using laptops. Even though we are not, even though we are out of the pandemic world, still I see the teachers are sending the assignments through WhatsApp, right? So we cannot completely control that. That is number one. And number two, also, because see, again, as Sonali mentioned in the beginning, every technology has advantage as well as disadvantage, right? So if we ask our kids to stop the usage of the online devices and internet completely, that means we are actually not giving them the opportunity to learn the things, right? So as long as they use the devices and internet for good things, we can encourage them. There is nothing wrong in that, right? So, and in the going forward, they have to live with the devices only, right? How long we can control? We cannot control, but what we can control is their behaviors. And as long as the behaviors are good, we can encourage them. But if the behaviors are not good, probably we need to take some kind of measures to correct their behaviors. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Sir, one clarification, sir.
Yeah.
Some of the children we are trying to give them mobiles for using educational purpose, but they're using some other entertainment. Sir, how can we stop them? For kids, sir, I'm asking.
Yes, yeah. So see, how can we stop them is, couple of things, right? One is in our most of the, mobile phones, what happens, there is something called time limit, right? So you can use that, time limit saying that, okay, my kid cannot use this particular application for more than 15 minutes or 20 minutes. You can set the timer. Right. Once you set the timer, what will happen is they will not be able to use it for next 2-3 hours. Right. Again, you can reset it. That is one way of doing it. The other way of, the other thing what you need to do is, as I mentioned, that, you need to see where they are going, which kind of website they are going. Are they really using for the study purpose? Are they using for, Instagram or, YouTube or Facebook? And then accordingly, you need to tell them that, okay, I know that you are using, the devices not for the studies, but you are using it for different purposes, which I don't like, right? You need to really tell them very strictly saying that I don't encourage this. As long as it is good for you, you use it. But if you are using it for the Instagram and wasting time, that is not good, right? So we need to tell them. But for that, we need to know how to audit their internet usage, right? How can we see where they are going, which websites they are visiting, right? We need to have that kind of awareness. And similarly, we should also know how to block the usage of, different applications, right? And you can get it all these things in the, online YouTube videos, ma'am. How to block the YouTube, how to block the Facebook, or how to set the timer. All these things, you will get it, ma'am. See, unfortunately, what is happening is, as a parents, we are thinking that, okay, we are not very technology savvy, right? I don't know technology, so I can't do anything. But we cannot say that anymore, because our kids are using internet, our kids are using, devices, and they are using it, without knowing the harmful impacts of, online. So what we need to do is we need to step up. We need to learn, how to use the technology, and we need to guide them. Otherwise, what will happen is, our kids will be spoiled, right? At the end of the day, we can say that I don't know technology, but that will not solve the problem. So we need to learn the technology. I mean, again, when I say we need to learn the technology, I'm not saying that we should know the coding and all those things. No, not required. With simple YouTube videos, you can understand how can you limit the time of your kid, or how to block the people, or how to make the profile public or private. All those things are available.
Thank you, sir. I hope this answers your question. Thank you for such an insightful session, sir. This is a very crucial topic that we discussed today at cyberbullying. And I hope that everybody gets their answer and doubt clear. Thank you, everyone, once again for making the session more engaging and participative.
Thank you so much for all your engagement and interactions. I really liked the interactions which we had today. And thank you so much, and hope this was helpful. Thank you, Sonali, for hosting.
Thank you so much, sir. And for people who have registered, I would like to inform them that they will be getting the vouchers soon. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Take care. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.